let's now shift gears and talk about how L&D teams can actually use this model when designing real-world training experiences, like the one that you just created. So, of course, you had, the complete brief and everything. But what are some practical ways to bring this to life?
Okay.
Right. Also, you mentioned reflection and experimentation, two powerful elements of the Kolb's cycle.
Yeah.
Now, currently in the pressure-driven corporate world, how do we make room for these without slowing down productivity? So I've thrown at you a couple of questions, and please answer them one by one.
Okay.
Though.
I would like to read something
Sure.
as simple as giving feedback to a team member. I'm starting from that scale.
Okay.
So if you are a HOD or a senior manager and you want to give a feedback.
Right.
Somebody said, Gabriel, I want to use Kolb model.
Right.
And it's a big model created in 1984. So use it.
Right.
I'm not going to give you the names. So let us play a little game. You give a constructive feedback to a colleague, but they seem defensive. This is stage one.
Okay.
You think about your tone and timing. Maybe it came across as a bit rigid or a stubborn. So let me enact.
Okay.
You know what, Roshan? I didn't like the way you were doing the sales last month.
Right.
So this one way of tone will create a defensive mechanism in their mind. You're not trying to create it, it's already there.
Right. True.
Then you learn that the feedback is better received when it is specific, timely, and framed positively.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, next time you schedule a one-on-one meet, maybe at a lunchtime or post-lunchtime, or maybe during a break time, and just have a chat, right?
Right.
Concrete experience, reflective observation, getting defensive.
Right.
Abstract conceptualization, my feedback is not right.
Right.
And active experimentation. This is how simpler it can become. If I put it in a workplace edition, and I'll use it for a sales call, because since we are all in sales and that being one of the pioneers.
Right.
Again, I want to read out the stages of what the sales guy is doing. You lead a client meeting for the first time. Then you reflect on, did I explain our proposal clearly? Did the client seem engaged? Okay, did I give the product verbatims in the right time?
Mm-hmm.
Did I use the proper closing connotations? I thought about it after the call. Then I realized that I was using too much jargon. My product is blah, my product is this, that, A, B, C. I might have to use a simpler language.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said in the next meeting, I'll use more visuals than I speak. So the client gets engaged.
Right.
Let us go back. You're leading a client meeting for the first time, concrete experience.
Right.
You realize that you use too many jargons, reflective observation.
Correct.
You realize that your jargon confused the client. So you'll not use it again. Abstract conceptualization.
Right.
And you said in the next meeting, I'll be using visuals. Active experiment. Once that active experiment ends, that I'm going to use visuals, you will again start the process. Okay, did the visuals go well?
Right.
Was it equally received by the client? Did the client have more questions?
Right.
So what is my denominator? Or the way I look at impact? Initially, the client was not engaged.
Right.
Now it's getting engaged. I give you two simple examples. Let me take you through a leadership journey, which is one of my favorite, of course. Don't get me wrong as I'm getting into reading, because it's a big thing.
Right.
Turning knowledge into performance. I think this is one of the biggest directives we have in today's scenario.
Turning knowledge into performance. Yeah, it's a bone of contention actually.
And the smile says it all from both of us with our experiences.
True.
We spoke from a user perspective for the last two experiences.
Right.
Business context. As a L&D professional, two-fold questions that I have.
Sure.
What will be my instructional strategy? I can use a simulated case.
Okay.
I can show them a video where a wrong call, and then ask them, okay, where is the wrongdoings?
Right.
Can you correct it? And then I can use objection handling scenarios. That's stage one in a program.
Right.
Second, I can watch my other recordings. So if I'm doing a workshop called presentation skills, I can ask the client if you can do a videography, so that the feedback sessions, you don't have to give video sessions. You play them, they'll get it. Whatever you give a pitch, okay, then you will introduce your sales framework. Every company would have their own sales framework, or for open market, it's a spin, or you use other framework.
Right.
And then finally, you get into live chats, how it's going. We did a journey.
Right.
Now, for the first one, for simulating sales call, we can use LMS.
True. Yes.
I don't have to call them for a workshop.
True.
And I can play that video in the LMS, and from there, we can do a virtual learning. What went well, what could have been better. As simple as that.
True.
Once that is done, I make them watch a better one of their pitches, which actually happened. Concrete experience, reflective observation.
Right.
Then I call them for a workshop for 2 days. Okay. You again go for concrete experience, reflective observation, and abstract conceptualization. Why? Because using frameworks and theories and all those things.
Right.
And finally, you ask them proactive how the call is going. Active experiment. You create. So I give you 3 examples from a learning context. I give you this example from a business context.
Right.
One of the bigger things that Kolb model uses is leadership development. Okay. That's what I have seen. Cultivating reflective and adaptive leaders. This typically from a succession planning, or I want to groom leaders for the future and all these things. Leadership simulation, assessments. Step 1. Step 2, guided coaching sessions by senior leaders in the company, and peer learning, and leadership journaling, or LMS.
Right.
Then we take them to a 2-day workshop on SL2. We outsource it.
Right.
Or if you have a certified person in-house, we run through it.
Right.
And then we ask them to implement your entire leadership academy or leadership journey. Again, starting from your assessments, your surveys, concrete experience.
Right.
Your viewpoint, your guided coaching sessions, or meeting one-on-one, all this done by senior leaders are your reflective observation.
Right.
Once you do the 2-day workshop, you again have, but more clear on abstract conceptualization. Right? We did this in the video. This works, this doesn't work, and all these things coming together. And then finally, apply insights into an action plan, which is your active experiment.
True.
And if you look at all these things, it covers your twofold question. The business, they're hammering on you, I need an impact.
Right.
On the other side, the learner context. And I don't want to be too colloquial by using this term. Sir, maza nahi aaya. If you go to a typical workshop,
typically what happens.
That the line. Do we take a call by what that person actually means?
In ideal sense, we shouldn't. But that's the unfortunate truth of the industry, so to say.
Exactly. And that's why that model is broken down to my own usage. So I'll only use active experimentation. Rest I can take care.
Right.
I will only use simulation. Rest I can take care.
Right.
No. Use the full model.
And I think the unfortunate reality also in today's times is that a lot of facilitation is done for the result by the participants. Ki maza aa gaya. And the model kind of fades away because that's the objective.
When I started into the training platform,
Right.
He's no more today, and I respect him a lot. His name was Samrat, and he molded me whatever I am today. Now, he never knew who was Kolb. And when I recollect back what
Right.
he taught me,
Right.
but he actually spoke in that same line.
Right.
How do the learners feel? How do the learner experience? Gabriel, keep that in mind.
True.
Are your learners able to create or ask questions during the workshop?
Right.
So if I use the first question, it is your concrete experience. If they're asking reflective questions, that means their reflective observation is happening more.
True.
And by the end of the workshop, if they come and tell you, what, Gabriel, I have found a way now to implement something.
Right.
Your abstract conceptualization. Now, active experiment is not a mandate that will happen in every workshop.
Right.
You create an action plan. And if that person comes to you after 3 months and says, Gabriel, you know what? I actually applied, but I failed. Still, it is an active experiment. You again go back to concrete experience. Okay, change this.
Yeah, you tweak and twist and.
So it's a cycle, but it has to be in your habit. knowingly or unknowingly today, whenever I go for a meeting with anyone or
Right.
when somebody comes to me for a program, it has become a habit. So I have questions based on all these models.
Right.
So I always say, okay, what do your learner expect from this workshop? Are they looking at activities or POT theories? What will be their observation during this workshop? How they want to implement it? Basically, all these questions, if you put your all the models are there,
Come into place.
and you don't have to think of an impact, because if you use concrete experience, if you use reflective observation, if you use abstract conceptualization, your active experiment, you may fail. I'm not saying it's a hardcore evidence
It's
that
a learning and you
but it's a learning,
improvise.
but you can change. That's
True.
the idea of it.
True, true. So interestingly, this model can be used in leadership, sales, anything, any training program that you want to design, right?
Honestly, Roshan, in my experience of around 2.5 to 3 decades now, knowingly or unknowingly, I've used it.
Correct. In fact, that's an interesting point you mentioned, that knowingly or unknowingly, because, and your mentor that you spoke of, I think a lot of these models have just happened to people without actually learning about these
Yes.
models, right?
So initially, what happens in the training world is, and I hope this changes, and not to be cynical about the industry, you don't get that kind of workshops, what you tend to do. So, for example, I want to do a senior leadership workshop on leadership, or I want to do a workshop on core values based on the book Built to Last by Jim Collins, or I want to do a leadership outbound or leadership coaching program,
Right.
or I want to do some program from Timothy Galway's performance curve. Typically, you start with normal communication, time management training. So I was doing it. And my mentor said, Gabriel, you're missing on the learner experience. As a newbie, I never paid heed to it.
Right.
I'm getting 5 out of 5 feedback. I was on cloud 9. Why to do? And one workshop came back with that line.
Right.
Maza nahi aaya. So I said, it can happen. He said, no, Gabriel, go back. So I'll repeat that verbatim, what I still remember. Trainer's energy, 5 out of 5.
Right.
Trainer's communication, 5 out of 5. Trainer's ability to make the audience engage, 5 out of 5. Conceptual understanding, basis, learner experience, 0 out of 5. And that triggered me to know what is learner experience. And eventually, I hit into that. My mentor taught me in a simple way. And as simple as this is, you are a father. You're teaching your child A, B, C, D, E. What do you do? Say A. Say B, B. So it's concrete experience.
Right.
But you don't get into reflective observation right now because he's still at that stage.
Right.
From there, you get into a mode which, okay, uncle is here. Please tell him ABC. So reflective observation, and then I realized, okay, eventually. So that's what I use the word knowingly or unknowingly I was doing.
True.
But yeah, that's the brilliance of this module.
Interesting. Do you have any real world example of a corporate training initiative that successfully applied this model and the impact it had?
Lots. Again, I would like to take a read on this because this is available on the internet if you start to finding it.
Sure.
And the organization is just not a small organization, it's IBM.
Okay.
Now, IBM structured their onboarding program based on Kolb's 4 stages.
Okay.
So what will I do is, I will first let you know how do they processed it out, and then I'll link it to Kolb's model.
Sure.
And then I'll share the impact. So the new trainees, they initially engage them in a simulated learning environment.
Okay. The experience bit.
Experienced it. So if it's a sale, you get into a call, you do a mock call, you experience it. Once that was done, they were all called for product demos. So you learn product demo, you give product demo. It's not that you will give it after 2 days. It's immediate simulation. Then after every simulation, learners reviewed those recordings. Now, all those simulations were recorded.
Okay.
And they reviewed their own recordings. And they found out, or they tried to find out what went well, what could have been better.
Reflective.
Thank you. You're getting into the system.
Right.
Then it goes to sales framework, a 2-day workshop or an online module, whichever way you want to want it. And IBM's consultative approach. They used to Neil Reckham's spin model.
Right.
And IBM's consultative approach were introduced and discussed. So it was not like a learning.
Right.
Introduced and discussed. Okay, where will you use it? How will you use it? And then learners applied new techniques in a live client call with real-time coaching.
Okay.
Impact: 30% faster onboarding. New hires reached quota productivity significantly sooner. Roshan, think of a program where you can onboard people 30% faster.
No.
Imagine at a level of IBM of how many onboarding they do in a year globally, the money they're saving. 2, retention. Learners reported greater confidence and engagement. So I'm not only onboarding them faster, by the virtue of reward and recognitions because they're doing well,
Right.
retention is getting high. So my business is increasing, productivity is increasing. And most importantly, improved client satisfaction.
Right.
Business context, learner context. If I go back, simulation, concrete experience.
Right.
Each simulation, learner reviewed their own video, reflective observation, which you said,
Right.
sales frameworks and everything, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation when they did on a live call.
Interesting. It's a wonderful implementation, actually. There's a lot of money that the business saved. There's a lot of productivity that suddenly rose, and a win-win for all
And
the stakeholders.
the best part is I did not able to get the actual number
Right.
of how much investment was done by IBM and
Obviously,
what are the
IBM
money
will
they
not
saved.
share that as well. So.
No, I know that, but 30% onboarding
huge.
faster.
Yeah.
You are a business pioneer. You know that money.
Absolutely.
Okay, retention. And they're not only saying from a learner. So I'll go back to that question you said, Gabriel, can you give me a learner context and a business context?
Right. This is
Improve client relationship. And I'm talking of IBM.
True.
There are a lot many organizations. They might not publish everything.
Right.
I mean, this is my speculation, and I am sure, hope Google doesn't sue me. I believe Google is based on experience of employees.
Right.
In the Great Place to Work, I think for 10 years they're number one now.
True.
So they are actually implementing Kolb's model is my speculation. Why I say this is because they're looking at that experience. I would recommend a movie. I'm sorry, I'm detour. There is a movie called Internship by Vince Vaughn. Vince. That is name of the movie is The Intern.
The Intern, right.
This is Internship. It's made by Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. So the basic story: two salesmen from the prehistoric era where they used to go ahead and sell a product.
Right.
They have been asked to leave because of retention problem.
And they join Google.
Right.
Right.
And they go through the entire interview process. If you look at that, the interview, that means you have to actually go and sell a product. You have to sit on an actual call to take a call.
Right.
Concrete experience. Then you have to sit within your team to understand what went well, what could have been better.
Right.
Reflective observation.
True.
Then you have to create new things.
True.
Abstract conceptualization. True. And then finally they get the role when they finally come with the pizza model and everything. So active experiment. I mean, they might not say it, I can't prove it. But by my virtue of knowledge is the gist is that they do.
True.